Hi, I'm Ross.
And I'm Kelly Gubrud, and welcome back to Life in Phoenix. Today we're going to be diving into a hot topic that has been swarming the internet, and that is the settlement with NAR, the National Association of Realtors.
This is a big deal, folks. This has potential to change how the buyer agent works today.
What does this actually mean? Any brokers that close less than $2 billion in volume is insulated from any future claims or suits. That's a great thing. Going forward, the buyer-broker agreement is an absolute must. Yesterday on the MLS, I already saw 90 properties that did not have any commission to the buyer-broker. And we are going to have to negotiate differently going forward.
So coming up in July 2024, buyer compensation will not be allowed on MLS anymore.
Yes, you'll still get paid. You'll simply need to negotiate directly with the buyers or the listing brokerage firm. The listing agent can also go back to the seller and ask for a little bit more compensation towards the buyer broker as closing costs and prepaids for that particular buyer. While searching the MLS for your buyers, you're not going to know in July. This change is going to make it so that when buyers agents are surfing the internet on the MLS for specific properties, they will not be able to see what's being offered for buyer broker compensation. If you have a buyer broker agreement with your buyers and you set the buyer broker to 2%, but you find out from the listing agent that you're only being offered 1% from the seller, you now either have to have a tough conversation with your buyer about how to come up with that additional 1%, or you have to go back to the owner and ask if the owner would pay that additional 1%. Just an example. If you know as a buyer's agent that you're going to get 1% commission, are you going to show that property?
The answer is yes.
Absolutely yes. If you have a buyer-broker agreement with that person, you now have the negotiation power. You don't need to worry about where that extra 1% is going to come from. There will be compensation negotiations, and some real estate agents will decide to work for less. On the flip side, there will be owners that see the value in offering the same buyer-broker compensation, where the listing agent might receive 2.5% and the buyer broker receives 2.5%. The standard going rate has been 5%, pretty much across the board, 5 to 6. Very few people in the last few years have been getting 6%, so the standard is usually between 4 and 5, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Many sellers still see the importance of listing their property on the multiple listing service and offering a buyer broker compensation because they know that that's going to drive a lot more customers through the door. Take for instance, if you have 20 buyers and only 10 of those are qualified to pay their buyer's agent, that means you now only have 10 qualified buyers for that property. Where if you actually offer that compensation to all brokers, you are going to get those 20 buyers to come through your house. That means that there is a greater possibility to get multiple offers or an offer at your asking price, therefore not having to reduce the sales price of your home.
You guys might be thinking, isn't the buyer-broker agreement just an employment agreement as it would be with the seller? Yes, it's going to be exactly the same. All these changes are going to require different skills and an adjustment to your strategy.
Yes, it's a change, but don't make it out to be bigger than it needs to be.
The road ahead is filled with opportunities for growth, learning, and experience.
It's the skilled and strategic agent that will take the time to educate both buyers and sellers that will win this race. The NAR settlement is a big step in the right direction towards a more competitive and strategic, yet transparent and cost-effective real estate market. This means potentially rewriting the rules for how homes are bought and sold, ultimately benefiting consumers and fostering a healthier housing market. We as agents need even more clear and consistent communication. Let us approach this next chapter with optimism, resilience, and a shared vision for success. Now, a couple of reasons why you might want to hire a buyer's agent no matter the outcome, whether you pay for the buyer's agent, the seller pays for the buyer's agent, or you split the cost.
Your buyer's agent is looking out for you and not the seller. That's the most important part.
In the state of Arizona, the listing agent's primary duty is fiduciary to the seller. That can't possibly benefit the buyer. There are going to be things that the seller instructs that listing agent not to share with the potential buyer. The listing agent's job is to get the highest and best price for that seller. A buyer's agent, however, works solely for you, advocating for your needs and ensuring you get the best possible deal through negotiation.
Your buyer's agent is going to be your negotiation ninja.
A skilled buyer's agent has the experience and expertise to save you thousands of dollars in your transaction, and that's what matters most. The buyer's agent understands the market trends and can leverage that knowledge to get you the very best price for that home. If you're on the fence about a certain home, your buyer's agent can also help you make an informed decision about which house you feel might be the best fit for you and your growing family. Buying a house involves a complex web of negotiations, paperwork, and inspections. A buyer's agent is your seasoned professional who can guide you through every step of the process from start to finish while you're finding the right property so that you can avoid costly mistakes and oversights. Let's face it, the sheer number of houses on the market can be very intimidating. A buyer's agent acts as your personal scout. Your professional searching for properties that match your criteria and not the criteria of someone else. They can also point out potential issues that could occur during the inspection process or during the closing process that you might miss on your own without a skilled buyer's agent or just an attorney's representation.
2 is always better than 1.
A buyer's agent handles all the communications with the listing agent. They work as a team, they're cooperating brokers. This will ensure that you get your paperwork done on time and before the deadline. Your buyer's agent is the champion in the real estate game. I highly advise that you do not embark on this journey without one. Thank you for tuning in to Life in Phoenix with Kelly and Ross, where you stay informed on places to go, people to see, and where to live in Phoenix, AZ.